Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lisa. Today we're going to bust a scrap, and I have made one so far. This is a journal card. The scraps are around the outside of a focal point. I added a digital, I don't know what you want to call that, number. I got a sheet of it, and one of my letters, and a couple washi tapes just to fill in some areas, and simple. But the trick is of how I did the back. So let me show you how to make these nice and quick and easy. All right, so my quick hack to make these is I used my shipping labels. Now, I got these at the Dollar Tree. I don't know if they exist anymore, but I'm hoping they do. You also, if you go to like a Goodwill and you find thermal printer labels, or you can get them pretty cheap actually, these printer shipping labels. Off of Amazon if you want to, but all I did was I peeled it off, and of course, you know, the first one I peeled was easy. This one barely feels like there we are. I peeled it off, and we're going to put the sticky side facing up, and we're going to use that to add our stuff. Now, the first thing I added on this one was my focal point. I pulled a few things. I couldn't tell you what digital they're from. I just found an envelope, and I think I'm going to do the butterflies because they're really cute. Now, probably not the hardest part, but the most intense part is to try to get this centered without having any lines, and I might try to. That's too far over. All right, we're going for it. And it's a little crooked, a little off center, but that'll be okay. All right, so once that's done, I'm gonna make sure it gets pushed down pretty good. And we are just gonna take scraps to go around it. Now this, I was just randomly picking out scraps that did the color, and I wanted them to be straight. This one actually was on that one, but I think it's gonna be a perfect size. So we're gonna put it here. Now, what I learned is we're gonna try to do our best, like to put it in a little angle, not flat down, but I don't know what you want to call it. Diagonal. This way. And turn this a little bit. We're going to put an angle so I could butt it up to that picture so it doesn't overlap, and put it down. Now, some of these did end up overlapping, and I went back and put just a little bit of glue over it, so it's not as big of a deal if you overlap or don't overlap kind of stuff. So now all I'm going to do is just find some scraps that I think would go with it. And I probably should have pulled these out earlier, but you know me, ill prepared. Well, this would be nice with the yellow. Okay, now one thing I did do is I did straighten these out if they were torn, just to I wish that was a little taller, just to make sure that it was. There's like holes in here too. I don't know what those holes are for. They'd be above it? They would be above it. Make sure that they are, can be buttered up straight. All right. And I'm going to lose that yellow that I really wanted. So I'm going to put it like this. And we're going to go ahead and glue that over, or trim it off. One of the two. I'll probably trim it off, and this is pretty brave of me to do blindly. Oh, that's not too bad. I can actually save that for another piece somewhere. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and build around the frame. Now, I'm not worried that it's sticking out because we're going to go back afterwards and trim it off. And this would probably be cool, but it is like a weird triangle. I like those colors. Those are fun. But I'll have to trim it down if I decide to use it, because it's a little bit on the rough side. It's not. This one down here, just because I don't want to put the yellow next to the yellow necessarily. And we're gonna just because this is huge, I'm gonna I'm just gonna cut it there, and then I'll know I'll have to cut it back a little bit later, but yeah, we'll go from there. So I think this is a pretty easy way to make a focal point around a frame. And like I said, it'd probably be easier if I actually found some stuff ahead of time. All right, so I found a couple things here. And one thing I think I forgot to mention is you want to make sure these papers are pretty thin if you want to butt them next to each other. Because if they're thicker, I mean, you can still butt them, but you might get like a bit of a, not a wave, but a, so close. All right, I'm going to put this here and leave room for something to go there. And I didn't want to put yellow in there, but boy, that's like the right size. Such decisions we have to make, right? All right, I like that one. And we're going to go right there. And we're going to be brave again and trim. Now there is a little space in there, but again, that can be easily fixed with washi tape. All right, I'm going to do that one. I'm just going to trim just a hair off of it. Actually, no, I'm not, because I see this end is a little rough, so I'll put a little bit of glue there and make sure that it is overlapped okay. All right, we're going to butt, and we're going to butt, and we're going to overlap. All right, so we're gonna go to there. And go to there. Now, of course, I used a brown kind of marker, and there's spots just like that on here. But I think I got the right spot. There we go. Okay, so I might look like a bit of a hot mess here, but like I said, we're just going to go back and we're going to trim it, and then we'll add whatever we need to, little labels or washi tape. So I'm just going to flip it over and trim it. Now you can do it by scissors, but I think I can eyeball this pretty good because I can see the edge of it and make sure it looks good. And once one side is good, should be able to do the other sides. And I think it's okay if you cut a little bit off of the backing of the label that you had. All right, so if any of these want to be saved, like that's a good enough piece to save. That's got holes in it, that's tiny. That's a little tiny, that can be saved. All right, so here we go. Cute, right? I'm gonna push that down, make sure it is nice and secure. I pulled out my Tim Holtz washi tapes only because they were tiny. And I see a green one, which will be perfect. And I see like a yellowish one. So let's see if we can put some of those on. Now this one does have words on it. So we're gonna put it across there to cover that little faux pas we did. Boy, if I could find the end. Am I going the wrong direction? There you are. I'm gonna trim this straight-ish. And we're gonna put it down. Now, Tim Holtz washi tape is pretty sticky, so I think I'll be okay without using glue, but I might have to go back and put some glue on here if it starts to come up. All right, so we're gonna go across that, and I'm just gonna rip it after the fact, and like the other one, we can go ahead and trim it down. Could have wrapped it around if I wanted to. Okay, and then I've got this one, which also has words on it, but I think I'll put it up there. Going from there to there, doing like the opposite. All right, so we're gonna trim it there, turn it around so I can actually work it. Now you don't have to use this really thin washi tape like this is. I just thought it would look cool on here. Just add a little something without overwhelming it, since it is for scraps. I'm using scrap pieces of washi, I guess. Cute. I think I want to put one right here. My question is, should I put one right there too, kind of framing the whole thing? I definitely like those black dots on here. They are cool. Yeah, I think I need to. With those black dots right there, that's like, oh, that's a loud airplane. I don't know if you can hear that, but holy cow. Oh, come on. I always hear those loud ones and go, oh, I hope it's not heading toward me somehow. Yeah, I like that. Almost looks like a film strip is surrounding it. Very, very cool. I'll put that away for now. And let's see if we can find a label to go on it. Right down there. June 1928. Let's cut that out. I'll be right back. All right, all cut out and inked. I'm going to put some glue on here. I'm just going to put it in that little spot right down there. Just going to overlap a little. Super cute. I like it. Now, this one I put a letter on, but I don't think a letter is necessary on this one. I think that it's got enough stuff on there. I left this one blank over here, kind of like a little place to also journal something too. But I think this has enough fun items on it to not worry about it. Now, I did use my rounder to round this one. It was a little bit tricky because these were pretty thin papers. Yeah, see, it just wants to bend. That one cut. Really depended on the paper that was underneath it or on top of it. Yeah, most of these are being difficult. So we're just gonna, what I could have done is stuck like a guinea pig piece of paper, or you put like a thicker piece of paper and do the two together. And force it to work. But oh, I love it. Just put a little ink on the outside. Now that's, what do you want to call it? That shipping label is pretty thin. I mean, you can see this is pretty bendy. So if you wanted to make it more secure, you could add a little bit more to it. But since the back of the sticker or the top of the sticker is a shipping label, it's pretty, it's white, so it's easy to write on. You do not have to, you can write on it. You don't have to cover it up to get a writing surface is what I was trying to say. But if you wanted something a little bit thicker, then I would go ahead and back it for it. It's just nice to have that sticker and be able to put that on there so easily without glue. Not that gluing is hard, but I really like that one. I like those colors that came out. So much fun. All right, shall we do one more? I think we shall. All right, so we're going to do this focal point on this one, and as you can see, I have pulled out the papers already that I think would work. Now, obviously, not all of those are going to work, but I wanted to save you some grief watching me try to find papers. And I probably should have saved the grief of me trying to pull this out, but there we go. All right, once again, we're going to put it this way. Now, this one, since it is so much bigger, it's going to not take as much on the border. But I could cover this up a little bit, put some glue on it, and maybe squish it in a little if I decide I want to do that. And I'm going to put her up a little higher, just because a lot of times, and that is crooked. A lot of times when I go to do journal cards and you go to put it in a pocket, if this image is too far down, it gets hidden. So I try to remind myself to put it up a little bit higher. Okay. All right, I found some very fun stuff here. Like this can be put on there, and it's got a lot of the same colors, and I like it. So let's do that. I'm going to do that here, but I am going to move it up and get rid of her a bit. So I'm going to put a tad bit of glue on that. I can always add a little bit more if I need to. All right, let's go right about there. Very scientific, but that's the way it was. Okay, and I think I'm going to put that there. And I didn't put any glue under there, so we're just going to pop that up a scotch and put a little bit of glue down there. Okay. All right, sideways ones. I think I like this one. A little too dark. That's bright and cheerful. And I think I am going to move it in a scotch on that one too. So we're just going to put a little glue onto there. Now what I could have done is pre-cut that picture down a little bit to not have to do this, but I think it's just as easy to add a little glue. All right, so I do have some color here and some fun words. I think I'm gonna put that there. I definitely wanted to put, there it is. Maybe add it on top of there as a second one. I think this is pretty thin. I think I can, but I need to trim that. All right, so we're gonna just right there. That'd be plenty fine. Okay. We're going to now I'm not as much of a fan. Maybe I should put it up here. All right, and put there, and I might cover that up again. You know, I almost have to cover it up because that line, it's deceiving because this is not as big as it is. The line is right about there. It's only about a ½ an inch. So to make it, I'd have to put it like that. And, I mean, it almost seems like a continuation of that flower, which, you know, actually I don't mind. I'm going to do that. I like it. Okay, now for the top, think I'm just going to use this. I'll have to cut a lot of that away, but that's okay. And then for this, put a little pink, and I'm going to mark this where I need to cut it. It's going to go here and there. All right, let's cut this. All right, put it in there, and there we go. Okay, now that is quite the little thing, but again, we're gonna go ahead and trim it down. All right, we're gonna start with this end. And I think that's gonna be pretty straight. All right, once again, save a couple pieces, and we'll go from here. Now this is kind of like making a masterboard in my mind when you cut it backwards, because you saw the big pieces, but you will not see the funness until it finishes here. All right, keep that. Keep those. You can see I cut a bit of the sticker off on that one page. And we'll put those. In the little baby bin for the tiny pieces. Okay. Oh, look how cute that is. I love it. So again, like I said, if you wanted to make sure that you do the ends well, let me get something. This is heavy. We're going to go ahead and butt those corners up, and we're going to go ahead and cut. And cut. And cut and cut. And the fun part is now I have this little like bookmark that's got rounded edges. Super cute. Yeah, you can see how like that little piece would have barely fit over there. It still is a bit on the wonky crooked side, but that's okay. I'm a bit on the wonky crooked side myself. Got corners everywhere. All right, let's see if there's, I like that one. And let's put that one down. Let's see what we got here. All right, I got the word collect. With some reddish color to it. And I think I'm going to put it there. All right, I'm going to do a little surgery here again. Put it there. And this one I'm going to put all the way across the bottom. It's like a green, almost looks like a, oh, that ripped really weird. Like a trim. And I think I'm going to put that one across the whole thing. This whole thing is just a little on the crooked side. you look at it, you gotta go, ooh, like that. She's like going downhill. That's okay. I don't think she minds. Put a little ink on the outside just to get rid of any of that white paper that might show through. All right, I've got some vertical numbers, and I think that will go nicely there. It's got some pinks and some blacks. Actually, I think I might like that better. That goes with her coat. So I'll cut that one out. Okay, there we go. Forgot to put my glue back. Let's do that. And let's glue this one down. Yeah, put it right down there. Yeah, I like it. I really like that trim right there too. I think that finished it off pretty well. Okay, I like it. Yes, I think that was fun. I hope you do too. All right, so let's show what we did. All right, so I made that one off camera with the shoe. This I forgot to mention, I think it says something about birthday wishes on there, and that's why it's up a little bit higher. I can't remember what it said, but yeah, I didn't like it. So I covered that part up, and I probably should have dropped it down a little bit, but the first letter was kind of fancy and sticking up. But it'll be okay. And then we did this cute butterfly. Really, really, really like this one. I have to put a little glue at the edge of that. Sometimes your finger, when you grab it, some of the finger residue gets stuck off of it and makes the end want to pop off. But I just love the little dots with that and the yellows and greens. Truly fun. And then this little young lady. I do like it. The flowers going off, the paint chart here, the numbers that match your coat, pinks with the flowers. Yeah, I think it all just worked out so wonderfully. I love them. I love them all. So obviously you don't need to have shipping labels to do this. This just made it easier, like I said, to glue the pages on. But you could just put this onto anything. The same kind of idea. You start with the focal point and then butt together the side pieces. Trim the outside, add a little bit of extra decor, some washi tape, some numbers, some letters. Yeah, just simple to do, I think, and fun. And I love the results. Okay, well, that is going to be it for this Bust a Scrap. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying the series. I think this is 21 or 22. I forget now. So, yeah, almost halfway there. Yeah, having lots of fun trying to bust my scraps, even though really when I do a project, I bust like 4 scraps. But that's okay. That's neither here nor there. All right, that's going to be it for today's video. I appreciate each and every one of you that has stopped by. And as usual, I hope you all have a wonderful and creative day. Bye for now.